wanted to do a quick chat about some reading bookish goals that I set for the year. I kind of went back and forth on whether or not I was actually going to set any this year. I mean, I went ahead and set my, on the story graph, just like Goodreads, you set a number goal of how many books you want to read for the year. And I went ahead and set that to 80. And then there was also a page goal, which I just plugged in like 5,000 pages, like just to put in a number so it would quit like prompting me to do so. And then I realized that's a really low number, obviously. I don't know, I never really think about how many pages I read. I just think about books, like the number of books. So I ended up changing that to like 20,000 pages. I don't know. I figured if on average a book is about 300 pages times the 80, but then 24,000 seemed too many, so I did 20. So I set those two goals, but they're very loose, like just a plug-in so that the app will leave me alone. And then in my reading journal just now, which is the same one I used last year, I bought it at a craft store. It's got a bunch of different like sections in it. Pop some stickers on the front. So last year, I just put some goals, some trackers that I didn't end up, using throughout the whole year. And then the second section was just like my monthly reading logs. And yeah, by the end of the year, they just got to be really just sloppy lists. So I was kind of going back and forth on whether or not I was even going to do it this year, because it's something I start off like with a lot of energy and inspiration for, and then like halfway through the year, I completely forget all about it. But while we're in that beginning of the year frame of mind, I was like, yep, you know what, let's go ahead and do it. So I made myself some goals here. First of all was that 12 book challenge and recommendations on Instagram. So those are those there. It's a little blurry. Hold on. I don't know if that helped. So there's just a couple titles. At the Water's Edge by Sarah Gruen, Nosferatu by Joe Hill, In a Lonely Place by Dorothy Hughes, Agatha of Little Neon, You'd Be Home Now, In the Wild Light, Ace, Downdrift, Zori, School for Good Mothers, Hell of a Book, and Hail Mary. And so some of these were responses to that Instagram story question, and some of these I pulled from people's like top books of the year lists, because I didn't get that many responses on Instagram. Like, what the heck? Further proof that like numbers of followers and like the number of people actually like seeing your stories means nothing. Like, I have a handful of like actual friends, and you all mean the world to me. Then I did like a little hashtag shop your shelves, and I picked 7 books that are on my shelves that either I've had for a while and want to read, or are large and intimidating, or like came out last year and I had to have them brand new. So why are they still unread? So those would be Ducks Newburyport, A Promised Land, which is kind of a cheat because I did start that, Book of Magic by Alice Hoffman, The Hidden Palace, which is the sequel to The Golem and the Jinni, Wuthering Heights, a classic I've never read, as well as Emma, and Brood, which I don't know if that came out 2020 or 2021, but I bought it and it's just sat there. So it's on my list of like, hey, these are on your TBR, your own shelves. Why don't you get to these? Right? And of course I could have picked any titles, but I want to do a TBR project, balance the shelves type project. And so I did film myself kind of working through that and figuring that out for myself. So I'll show you that, but I'll let you know right now my number was off. So I actually went and organized my shelves, cleaned up a little bit yesterday, and did like an official count. So to start the year, I am at 286 books on my owned TBR. I don't really have a goal like number in mind that like I would like to get it down to in the year. I don't know. And I don't mind having a lot of unread books because like I'm really excited by like all of them. Like I love having them there for when I want them. Then I'm going to do the 20 books by Black women. I don't want to say challenge because it shouldn't be a challenge, but Melanated Reader, I follow her on Instagram, and she shared a tweet that she had written here. Make a goal to read 20 books by Black women. And so I went through my shelves and made my list. 20 books by Black women that are on my shelves. So that's a goal for the year. Last year, so without thinking about it, I was like, oh, I'm sure I can do that easy. So I counted how many books by Black women I read last year, and it was 16. So 20 should be no problem. If that's distracting you, I had a pen explode on me earlier today. So, any tips for getting ink off? Let me know. And then the Betty White challenge. I found this on the Story Graph, and I just browsed what challenges are on there. And this seemed fun. I think it was created in honor of her 100th birthday, and now it's like a, a little bit of a memorial challenge. So it has some fun prompts on there, like older than sliced bread. So read a book older than Betty White or that takes place before 1922. Golden smiles and laughs. Read something that makes you smile or laugh. Vodka and hot dogs. Read something about food or drink. Animal rights and love. Read something about animals. So it's just like a couple like prompts, and then on the Story Graph, the description for each prompt kind of had like a little anecdote about Betty White, and then like a read something about this. So I kind of copied and then just I copied the sentences that give you the actual book prompt, and I put them into this little table for myself with the title and photo of her, and so that's tucked into my reading journal. So I don't know why I do these challenges, because then the other thing is I do like participating in readathons as they come up month to month. I have fun doing that. Like I said, the beginning of the year, I get all inspired to do all the challenges, and then I forget about them. Last year I was going to do the If You Got It, Read It challenge. Didn't happen. Well, I stopped tracking it anyway. I kind of wonder how I did, if I actually go back and see like what I read and if it applies to prompts. I don't know. So I'm going to cut now to me when my bookshelves were a mess. Kind of discussing how I was setting up my TBR accountability project. So here's that. Hey, so my bookshelves, these are our homeschool bookshelves, but my bookshelves are a mess right now, and a goal I had was to rearrange, reorganize just this entire basement space of ours that we use as an office, a homeschool classroom, my library, my reading space, my crafting space. Like, it's a disaster, and I wanted to clean up, reorganize. It's a little tight with how I can move furniture around, but I got the bug. I want to, you know, finagle the space a little bit. I went ahead. I'm going to do a little TBR accountability project inspired by Doris and Heidi. And I know Heather and Karen are doing it. I saw Erin doing it. So I'm gonna try. I've already cheated a little bit. Like, for example, so I went through and I counted all of my unread books, but I didn't count, hold on, let me flip my camera around. I didn't count quite everything. Like, here's my Tolkien collection. And so, like, I read all of these. I have not read, like, the Middle Earth history type books. And I didn't count them because I don't know that I really plan to read them. If I do ever read them, it would be just like a bonus project. And so I'm not getting rid of them. I'm not going to count it against myself. Down here, I counted these books because these are ones that I might read. These ones I have like no interest in. I got them thinking they might be more like in Nate's wheelhouse, and so I like having books on hand if he ever decides he wants to read, which he's been doing lately. So this, I used to have all the Harlan Coben's stacked here, so that worked out because he's working his way through them. See, he's got another one on the go next to the bed. And then all of these like nonfiction baseball stuff, again, is stuff that like I am interested in, but mostly it's a library I built up for Nate because in addition to crime thrillers, he enjoys reading nonfiction and we love baseball. So I didn't really count those. So if I read any of those, they're not going to come off of my, tally tracker, whatever, TBR balance sheet. What else? Oh, and I didn't count things like this, treasuries and just like collections where I think of these more, and up here, I think of these more as like reference materials and they're good to have, and like, oh, hey, we've discussed, in a homeschooling perspective, we've discussed, XYZ, let's read from this voice. And then, so, I've already read all of these anyway, and like, so technically these are my books, but they're middle grade and like I share them with the kids. So I've read all of the Redwall Brian Jakes. I did not read the Flying Dutchman books. I read the Kulapari books with my kids, and then I haven't read these Riordan, the Magnus Chase, the Apollo. I've read all of the Percy Jackson ones. Haven't read Tristan Strong yet. Technically, that's Owen's book. I didn't count Here's More middle grade, even though, these two books are mine. But I consider these just like a family library. So I didn't count those. Oh no, I didn't count my poetry books either. But you know what? I'm not going to. I'm happy with the number I've come up with. And then going back to these are homeschooling. These are more curriculum reference shelves. And then here is like my school library, which honestly could probably do with some cleaning up. because a lot of these books are things when we started homeschooling and I would find at a thrift store. I thought, oh, classic home, like school library, we have to have them. And now, you know, I'm on this mission to decolonize our education, and a lot of these books are old and written by white people and a little culturally insensitive, to be honest. So we got some cleanup to do. So I didn't count any of those, even though I have not read all of those. You know, I have not read all of these. But it's my library, my project, my rules. Here we go. I made myself a little table. See, it's got the month, how many I read or at least attempted to read. If I DNF, I'm still going to count it. Or how many I just straight up unhauled without trying. And then I already have some hauled books. I counted them originally, and then I was like, no, you know what? I want to do a haul video soon. I'm waiting on one more package delivery, and then a friend of mine has, we were away, and I asked her to grab a package that was delivered while we were, like, right after we left. I got the email that it was delivered. So she has 2 more books of mine, so I'm just gonna count them as acquired. So my number, I might just start off the year in the red. We'll see what happens. Or I can unhaul a bunch and balance it the other way, which honestly might be a good idea. Yeah, I really want to get through my TBR this year. So wish me luck. I succumbed to the peer pressure and I'm doing it. TBR accountability, 1 in, 1 out, whatever you want to call it. I'm on board. And now here are things cleaned up. So I pushed my chair over there. And these are the poetry books that were on the top of this like shelf that we use as a room divider. So those are all the middle grade books that I'm not counting on my TBR. I did take the 2 that were here and I added them because they are mine, so I am going to count those. But for the most part, middle grade books, I'm not counting on my TBR. Here we have my Alice Hoffman collection, and then off of that, some more magical realism. Sarah Addison Allen writes in a very similar style, and then some more food magic stuff, and then a little Barbara Kingsolver collection. Nothing there changed. This is historical fiction, some sci-fi-ish or like author collections that I don't love as much as these authors. YA mostly, and then some like mass market fantasy books. Thrillers and baseball. So this is not, well, these here are on my TBR count, and then those for the most part are not. Middle grade series not on my TBR count. Classics and modern classics. Ray Bradbury and Edith Wharton collections. And then Aristotle and Dante. And then, oh, here are the 20 books by Black women from the mothers over. That's my 20-ish. I think there might be like 18 here selected for that. Some Latin authors. And then just in general fiction. One thing I did switch up is I put all the male authors together here. Obviously not all of them. There were plenty on the sci-fi and historical fiction shelves also. But this section, like these 3 shelves, are like my more recently acquired books, or the books I'm most excited about. Like I said, I'm excited for all of these. but these are the ones I would probably get to sooner. And so of these, I took out the male writers and put them on that shelf. I don't know why, but I did it. And then this is nonfiction. So that's it. That's my library. That's our homeschool stuff. That's my little teacher cart. That's it. Yeah. If you happen to spot anything on those shelves that you think I should get to, like, sooner than later, let me know. Let me know what I should prioritize. Who knows if I actually will. But, I mean, the goal is to get through them. So, thanks for watching. I will see you soon.